Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19 cousins. Hope everybody's looking forward to a holiday weekend and that you do actually get some time off and enjoy it. The final unofficial weekend of summer, even though we've got about 3.5 weeks to go. If you do get a chance to head down to the shore or the beach, depending on where you are and what you call it, please don't get eaten by sharks. Now, we're going to dig into a little ESPN news. You all know how much I love the worldwide leader in sports. So, this actually came out on Monday. ESPN made 5 big firings on Monday, and this was at the executive level. They went through some big changes at the executive level on Monday, and they've reorganized much of that executive level and talked about changes they made, saying that they will allow the company to be more strategic, collaborative, and nimble as we continue to excel. I'm sorry, I should be professional. As we continue to excel in every area and function, we remain committed to employee development, and the restructure will result in new positions or promotions for people who are expanding their responsibilities or taking on new challenges. Now, ESPN is struggling. I have a little bit of video for you that I want to show too, because I want to show you something that came out today. But here are a few of the problems with ESPN. Bad hires. They have hired, I mean, you look back in the past and you look at some of the people that they had on their different shows, from, Chris Berman and Tommy Jackson to Stuart Scott and Dan Patrick, and just they used to have really sport smart, well spoken, insightful, analytic people at ESPN that were interesting to listen to, and you learn new things. You didn't always agree with them, and that's not the point. I mean, I would hope there are people that actually tune in and listen and watch my videos that don't agree with me on everything. That's normal, okay? But they did their jobs well, and for sports people, it was a great place to go, and Sports Center used to be a must see, and it is not, because they have not replaced those people with equally talented people, because they've gotten off track and they've gotten away from what they should be focused on, which is sports news and entertainment. But now ESPN has become more about using sports to make political or cultural statements. ESPN basically wants to be the sports version of CNN or MSNBC or Fox News instead of giving us sports. People don't want that in their sports. We want sports. Sports are entertainment. It's an escape from all the everyday nonsense. And then ESPN started making this obvious because they fired people like Sage Steele, whose personal opinions didn't align with ESPN, to the point where Sage even sued ESPN and settled. So I guess I technically can't say that she won, but they settled, which I would say is a win for Sage. They just recently let Sam Ponder go, who, again, someone who has personal beliefs that don't jibe with ESPN. And Sam, very good. If you've seen Sam, she was the anchor on Sunday NFL Countdown, which had one of its best rating seasons in years last year. And she just got fired right before the NFL season. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. You had Dan, oh man, I forget Dan's last name. Shoot, begins with an L. I wasn't going to mention him, so I'm sorry, I didn't have prep for that. But he's the one who made a tweet when the boxing stuff was going on with the Olympics that just said protect our daughters, and it was deleted within a minute. And then he came out later and made some comment about how it didn't align with his employer ESPN's values, and he had to be careful of that working for a big company, even though it was his personal account. So I want to think about that for a second. Forget where you stand on any of the other stuff, because I'm not going to get into that. But to have to delete a tweet that says protect our daughters because the company you work for doesn't like that, that's weird. Just weird. So the product has declined and no one trusts them, because on top of them just pushing that, there are too many lies. There are too many lies. or purposely misinforming people. And it's not just the people that we've talked about that have had a voice as Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA and all that blew up. I mean, I'm gonna dig in right here with the face of the network. And this was posted today. This was posted just hours ago. And he talks about well, I'm just going to play it for a bit. There are two keys. The first one is just nuts, but the second one's is even more important.
Angel Reese, Chicago Sky rookie Angel Reese of the WNBA. The Sky forward entered Sunday's game averaging 13.6 points and the WNBA best 12.6 rebounds per game. Well, last night, she snatched 22 rebounds. Reese is the only player in WNBA history with 3 consecutive 20-rebound games. I've talked about Caitlin Clark. I love the sizzle. I love the ball handler. I love the passing ability. I love the shot-making ability. But let's give credit where credit is due. Angel Reese is showing she's no joke either. I think she could win Rookie of the Year.
That is insane. Absolutely. I mean, that is, like, to me, if you're a sports guy heading a network or a show, you're gone because you've just shown you have no idea what you're talking about. And look, this isn't on Angel Reese. This is not Angel Reese's fault. I'm not criticizing Angel Reese. This is the media, and they're doing nothing good for her. She already believes she's a lot better than she is. And when she's getting this kind of reinforcement, she's not going to work on her game the way she needs to, and that's going to hurt her. So these people are hurting Angel Reese. And I'm not going to go through all the reasons why Caitlin Clark is in a different universe and she's the Rookie of the Year. She's in the MVP conversation. She's going to be all WNBA first team. She's the best point guard in the league. So this isn't a video about those two and separating them. This is about what we're getting from ESPN. And this is ridiculous for Stephen A. Smith to be saying this at this point in the season. And he just did it himself and listing that. He listed all these different things that Caitlin Clark does well, and then he talked about rebounds for Angel Reese. So, but here's where I really get a little bit annoyed with what's coming up.
She may have used Caitlin Clark to make a name for herself by waving the way Caitlin Clark used to wave at the opponents when she was smoking them. And Angel Reese did that to her en route to a national championship for LSU.
Okay, that's what really, really annoys me. And this is why, because I know some people in the comments when I did a video about Cheryl Swoop say, just ignore her. She's just doing it for attention and all that. And I get it. I do. And I think there are times, I think you have to pick and choose, and there are times for that to happen. But when there are just blatant lies, and that's what this is, because what Stephen A. Smith just said is not true. And we've known that for over a year. So I don't know how he can't know that. If he doesn't know that, I don't know why he has this job, because he's incompetent. He doesn't prepare for it at all. I'm sure he has a staff with the show he has and the money he makes, and they didn't prepare for it at all. So it's a whole lot of incompetence all over the place. But again, see, my belief is they probably do know, but they want to protect Angel Reese and the narrative. It's not so much about Angel Reese, it's about the narrative, but they have to protect Angel Reese to protect that. Because, right, this was after that game, and this is one of the most obnoxious things I've ever seen. Caitlin Clark's not even paying attention to her. Like, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark's never said a bad word about you. She didn't have nothing to do with you, but I get it. This, folks, this is pure jealousy. This is an insecure woman who hates that Caitlin Clark is popular. Don't believe me? Okay, well, here we are celebrating the national championship. Now, let me ask you something. You just won a national championship. There's a player on the other team who's never said a bad word about you, like has no issue with you at all, didn't do anything to you, didn't say anything about you. And she's what's on your mind.
She dissing Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark.
Right? I mean, like that. That is just. And now here's the real point I'm making. Like, this is not a good look, folks. But we have to protect that by saying it was Caitlin Clark who was the nasty trash talker who did this to her opponents. Okay, well, let's get real clear about that. This is from June of 2020. 2023.
So when Caitlin Clark did the "you can't see me" gesture, it was against Louisville.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was directed towards you. Walk me through it from your vantage point.
Right after the game, I texted her and I was like, the media is dumb. I'm sorry. They just make stuff up. And then they just put it all over the internet and everyone thinks it's true. We were laughing about it because she did it to her strength coach. She didn't do it to anyone on our team, especially me. I didn't even see it in the game. I was probably, dribbling the ball up the court after she just hit a 3 in our face. It's just funny how like camera angles and perceptions are skewed.
I love, she said, media's wrong. You guys are dumb.
It was hilarious. We laughed about it after. So my perception, I don't even have one because I didn't even know it happened until I saw it over Instagram later.
So
I want you to let that sink in, everyone. Stephen A. Smith is the face of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. This video is from June of 2023. Yet this week, Stephen A. Smith gave you a false narrative about this entire thing that made Caitlin Clark look bad and made Angel Reese look good. And again, not going after Angel Reese, I'm going after ESPN and Stephen A. Smith. This is why they're failing, and this is why there's pushback, folks, because how many people do you know who have an interest in sports? Maybe they didn't really follow college women's basketball, but they have an interest in sports. And like most people, they go to ESPN and FS1 and places like that. And this is what they hear all the time. How many of them think that that is the story, that that was something Caitlin Clark would do to her opponents? And I guess big, bad, brave Angel Reese was defending all of them by doing it back. Nope, none of it. None of it happened. None of it's true. You heard it from Haley Van Lith right there. How does Stephen A. Smith not know that? This was 14 months ago, this video. And the other thing I'll get to is that people's habits are changing, right? Sports Center used to be must-see TV. People tuned in. That's why they got their highlights. They got their analysis and insight and opinion from very smart, knowledgeable sports people, which Sports Center isn't anymore. But on top of that, they've got other places to go. They see things like this. They see things like Cheryl Swoops lying about every aspect of Caitlin Clark's college career. And they're like, well, why do I want to get my information from them? I've got people on YouTube and people on Twitter or X that are giving me a different perspective, that are giving me the truth and the facts and let me make up my own mind and have different opinions than what I'm getting from ESPN. And that's a big problem. And with that, you also have the ability to go for highlights as well, right? If you're an Indiana Fever fan, you can get things you're not getting by tuning in to ESPN. You can go to Indiana Fever and you can get a video they did recently on, I think it was after she set the rookie assist record for a season. So I think at the time it was 232. There's a highlight video that's every single one of Caitlin Clark's 232 assists. So that's a problem for ESPN. Now, what's going to keep them going for a long time is that sweet, sweet free cable money that's a legal scam, right? And that's where ESPN is part of the basic package of cable. So if you want cable, you've got to get ESPN, even if you never look at it, never watch it. You're going to pay $7+ per month for ESPN, a channel you never watch, which gives ESPN, it's declining now, but it's still now over $500 million a month. It used to be closer to $1 billion back, when cable was at its peak. So think about that. Over $500 million a month ESPN gets without having anybody watching, right? Then you get the people watching and they get the ratings and the advertising money. And that's why they could overpay all these years to get games for the NBA and Major League Baseball and all of that, because they had billions and billions of dollars that they just got. Absolutely crazy. But that is slowly going away as people's habits change, as we have more streaming options, as you've got YouTube and X and things like that. And so ESPN's hurting. They really need, I don't know what that means with the executive changes, but they really need to make some big, big changes in their programming for sure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, the whole thing, because it goes beyond the WNBA. It's just it's a mess. It is a mess. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below if you're enjoying the content. I really do appreciate it. I got to get ready to watch the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. So I'll wait till that video to say have a great holiday weekend. I will talk to you later.